Hey, this is Jacob, and in this video, we're going to be going over how to practice writing in a foreign language. Now, when it comes to learning a language, there are a few different ways that you can look at it. Basically, there are four skills that you generally want to focus on, and that's going to be writing, reading, speaking, as well as listening. Now, two of those skills are passive, which is reading and listening, and two of those skills are active, which is speaking and writing. So in this video, we're just going to be focusing on the writing part, which is an active skill. Now, what are some benefits when it comes to learning how to write? Well, there are a couple of things that you want to consider. First off, writing does help with organizing and refining your ideas. Now, unlike with speaking, which happens in real time, and you just have to say whatever it is that's on the top of your head at that moment. With writing, we have the privilege of being able to really take our time and choose the right word and phrase things in the right way and really get our thoughts across in a very precise manner. Like you don't have to you don't have like this time pressure, so to speak, unlike when it comes to speaking. So that's one thing that's really nice when it comes to writing. Another thing too is that you can get feedback on your writing as well. So let's say you wrote like a short essay or something like that, like a few hundred words in your target language. You can go and you can send that to someone, like maybe somebody who's really advanced in that language or a native speaker, and they can correct your report or correct your writing, so they can show you where your errors are at, or maybe some things that you may want to rephrase so that way it sounds a little bit more natural. Another thing too that is really useful for writing is that it helps to turn your passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. So the way that I go about learning languages is that I focus on my passive skills first as opposed to my active skills. So I do a lot of reading as well as listening. And what you'll notice after a while, especially once you put in a few hundred hours into your target language, is that your comprehension skills are going to be very good. Like you'll be able to read and listen to certain things, and depending on the level of the material, you might be able to understand quite a bit. But one thing you have to realize is that just because you have a very large passive vocabulary, that's not necessarily going to translate into your active vocabulary. Which so when I talk about active vocabulary, I mean the vocabulary that you use when it comes to speaking or writing. So by practicing your writing, you're able to take the words that you can recognize passively and make it a part of your active vocabulary, so that way you can use them when you need them. And last but not least, one of the huge benefits of writing is that it does help with your speaking. You see, by getting yourself in the habit of forming your thoughts in your target language through writing, that naturally translates over to speaking. Now, of course, speaking is still a separate skill, and that's something that you still need to practice separately. But your when you go and you practice writing on a daily basis, it does indirectly help with speaking later on down the line. So the way want to show people how to practice writing the foreign language, there's really three levels that you want to consider. So the first level is using an app that's called Polygloss. I actually made an entire video about Polygloss a while back, so I'll probably link to that down to the description. But the whole idea behind Polygloss is that you practice writing in your target language, writing short sentences based on pictures. So I mean, if you're in the United States or if you're an English speaker, you probably heard the phrase that a picture is worth a thousand words. And this is especially true when you're trying to use your target language to describe that picture. Like you can take two or three or 10 different people and you can give them all the same picture, and each one of them is going to describe that picture in a very different way. So that's one of the really cool things I like about polygloss, that the fact that they use pictures, and you're basically at liberty to use your target language to describe that picture however you see fit. So just to give you the basic idea behind polygloss, the way that it works is that you basically match up with someone who's also learning your target language, or it could be a native speaker, and either you can send a request to them or they can send a request to you. So if you were to send a request to them, the way that it works is that you would pick a picture that you would want to describe in your target language. You might write a few sentences about it. You send a request out to the other person. They receive the request, and then based on what you wrote down, they have to choose the correct picture within your target language. And then from there, they'll go and they'll do the same thing. And then you have to choose the correct picture based on whatever it is that they wrote. So you can do this as many times as you want. Like the basic program, like all the basic features within polygloss is free, but I mean they do have a paid version as well. But you for most people, just using the free version should be good enough for most cases. They do also have an AI tool as well, but it looks like that's in beta at the time that I'm recording this video, and I'm not sure if that's going to stick around or what they're doing as far as with that. But you can also use that as well. Like once you've gone through like quite a few matches and you have a lot of matches matches that you have saved up, you can use the AI tool and they can analyze your language. And then from there, the AI tool can provide some feedback over some regarding some things that you could work on, things that you're doing well and stuff. But I will say this though, that the quality of the AI tool does vary a lot from one language to the next. So if you're learning a language that isn't really as popular or doesn't have like a lot of material out there, the advice that AI tool could give you could be a bit of hit or miss. Now, excuse me, in the most ideal scenario, when you do polygloss with someone, like ideally you want to match up with someone that either has a high level in the language or someone that's a native speaker, and they have the opportunity where they can go and they can provide corrections, like or whatever it is that you wrote. So if you wrote something and like maybe you made like a spelling error or you use like the wrong tense or something like that, they could point that out to you, and that can just help you with being more aware of how to do the right thing, moving forward. So, it's definitely a really cool program. Like I had used it for Esperanto. Now, as far as like how long you want to use this program, I think ideally you want to use it for as long as you get benefit out of it. Like once you get to a point where, using the program starts to feel a little bit stale, or you don't feel like you're really like improving your abilities, then you want to move on to the next level. But there really isn't a hard and fast rule as far as like how long you want to be using it. But you definitely want to use it to the point where you feel comfortable, and you kind of got into a rhythm where you feel comfortable expressing your thoughts. Because the whole idea behind this program is to really like write like short sentences and stuff. So this is just like you like taking your first steps into your target language. Now on the website, they do recommend that it is for intermediate learners of their target language. So that is something that you want to keep in mind as well. If you're still like relatively new to your language, then I would hold off on the writing and just work on increasing your comprehension, or to until you get to a point where writing feels a bit more feasible for you. So moving on from level one, so level two is going to be a website called 65 Words. Now, I also did a separate video on 65 Words, so I'll link to that as well. But the whole idea behind this website is that as the name implies, you want to be writing at least 65 words per day in your target language. So unlike polyglots, where you're primarily writing like short sentences, maybe like 10 or like 15 words or whatever, like sometimes even less than that. For this website in particular, if you want to go and you want to submit your writing for the day, you have to write a minimum of 65 words. And it's funny too. I did remember reading somewhere where the creator of the website, like they tried experimenting with like different numbers to see like what would be the most optimal number for people, and they found out that 65 words seems to be right in that sweet spot where it's just enough where you're able to write and like kind of express your thoughts, but it's not so much that it feels like overwhelming, like it feels like this impossible task. Like I used this site for about 6 months straight when I was working on my Esperanto, and I could definitely tell you that it really did help me out a lot, because it just really got me more in the habit of really just kind of expanding my thoughts a little bit more. Another thing that's cool about this site as well is that they have two different options. So you can either like come up and you can just like go on the website and just kind of write your own thing, like based on whatever you're thinking about or whatever, or you can use one of the prompts that the website have, and they have like a bunch of different prompts. I will say this though, like some of the prompts are all kind of like a little wacky and a little ridiculous, and like I tell you, like quite a few of the prompts did make me laugh. But I think that's kind of the cool thing too, because like as you use the site day by day, like you have all of these different topics that you could write about, and that just allows your vocabulary to expand in so many different directions, and it really just gets you to that point where you can start talking and just conversing about everyday topics. So I think this site is really useful in that regard. Similar to Polygloss, there is an option as well where people can go and give feedback on your writing. So, like if you're writing in like say Spanish or whatever, and there's a Spanish speaker, well, actually the person that creates 65 words is also a native Spanish speaker. So more often than not, like if somebody writes in Spanish, he'll like hop on the post, and he'll just provide feedback and like corrections and stuff for people to work on. So, and you can also do the same as well. Like if you see somebody writing in your like native language or a language that you know very well, you can also comment on their post as well, and you could just provide any like necessary corrections for them. So it becomes a very collaborative effort. Like you can receive help, and you can go and you can help other people as well. So definitely a great site I would recommend. Again, similar to the first site, you want to just use it as long as you feel like you get value out of it. Like once it gets to the point where you don't feel like it's really helping to push your skills, or you're just kind of getting a little bit bored and you want to try like something a little bit different, then it may be time to move on to the next level for you. Or ideally, once you get to the point when you're not making as many mistakes, or you're making very very few mistakes when writing on 65 words, then it could mean that it's time for you to graduate to the next level. Now, this is the level that I'm currently at with Esperanto. Now, unfortunately, I haven't started writing yet on this site with Esperanto, but I am going to be doing that very soon. So the fact that I made this video just gives me more motivation now to really start using this website. But this website is called Journaly. So with this website, this is really about writing long form content. So while there isn't like a really a hard word limit on how many words that you should write, I think this website in particular is really ideal for people that are very comfortable writing in the target language already and really just wants to focus on like lengths and like really just writing like long form, like ideally like a few hundred words or so in your target language. Like once you're at that point where you can write a few hundred words, or you can at least push yourself to do that and it doesn't feel like too strenuous, then this site is really the site that you want to use. And what's cool about this is that not only is it useful for practicing your target language, you'll also get to leverage the benefits of journaling as well. Now, I do journaling, but I do my journaling in English, and I can tell you that with my journaling, it's really great for like relieving stress. It's great for just kind of processing my thoughts. Like if I had something that was like bothering me or just annoyed me or whatever, I could just write about it in my journal. So you can get all of those therapeutic benefits of journaling combined with practicing in your target language at the same time. So in a way, you kind of get the best of both worlds. Another thing that's really cool about this site is that it supports over 100 languages. So like chances are like whatever language that you're learning or you want to learn, it's very likely that they already support it. And if they don't support it, then I'm sure you could just send an email to them and they could try and work something out. But they support a ton of languages. Similar to like the other sites and apps that I mentioned, like you're able to get feedback from other people, and you can write in a unlimited number of posts. And this is just all in the free plan as well. Like they do have a paid plan, which they are going to be introducing some additional features, some additional like bells and whistles, so to speak, for like supporting them. But on a basic level, like you can use a free plan and it'll give you like the majority of whatever you need, like as far as like being able to practice writing in your target language. Another thing too, I didn't mention this about 65 words, but at the time that I'm recording this video, you only can write on one post per day on 65 words. Like once you go and you write your post for 65 words or however many words that you decide to write, then you're basically done for the day. They might be trying to change that at some point, but as of right now, like you can only write one time. So with Journaly, you can write as many times as you want. So you can write like twice, three, 5 times a day. You know what I mean? Like you can really just go crazy with it, so to speak. So these are the three levels when it comes to writing in your target language. You want to start off with Polygloss, which is just forming basic sentences, then going to 65 words, where you're writing at least 65 words or more in your target language. And then finally, Journaly, where you're writing, ideally like at least a few hundred words or so, like at least 300 to 500 words at the very minimum. So if you go and you just follow this progression when it comes to writing in your target language, then you should definitely see a lot of gains and a lot of improvements with it over time. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any experiences with using any of these apps, feel free to leave it down below. I would love to hear what you guys think about them. Or if you never heard any of these apps before as well, feel free to leave that down below. Like I'm always happy to share things that I'm using and have benefited me within my language learning journey. So if you find that this is valuable, that definitely would mean a lot to me. So guys, now right now, I don't have a ton of subscribers. This is a very small channel. So if you enjoyed this video, just make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as tap the bell icon. So that way you'll be notified as soon as I release new videos on this channel. So this is Jacob Laguerre, and I am signing off. Peace.